because of their oath, they had been kept from taking up arms against their brethren, for they had taken an oath that they never would shed blood more. And according to their oath, they would have perished, yea, they would have suffered themselves to have fallen into the hands of their brethren, had it not been for the pity and exceeding love which Ammon and his brethren had had for them. For this cause they were brought down into the land of Zarahemla, and they ever had been protected by the Nephites. But it came to pass that when they saw the danger, and the many afflictions and tribulations which the Nephites bore for them, they were moved with compassion and were desirous to take up arms in defense of their country. But behold, as they were about to take their weapons of war, they were overpowered by the persuasions of Helaman and his brethren, for they were about to break the oath which they had made. And Helaman feared lest by so doing they should lose their souls. Therefore all those who had entered into this covenant were compelled to behold their brethren wade through their afflictions and their dangerous circumstances at this time. But behold, it came to pass that they had many sons who had not entered into a covenant that they would not take their weapons of war to defend themselves against their enemies. Therefore they did assemble themselves together at this time, as many as were able to take up arms, and they called themselves Nephites. And they entered into a covenant to fight for the liberty of the Nephites, yea, to protect the land unto the laying down of their lives, yea, even they covenanted that they never would give up their liberty, but they would fight in all cases to protect the Nephites and themselves from bondage. Now behold, there were 2,000 of those young men who entered into this covenant and took their weapons of war to defend their country. And now behold, as they never had hitherto been a disadvantage to the Nephites, they became now at this period of time also a great support, for they took their weapons of war, and they would that Helaman should be their leader. And they were all young men, and they were exceedingly valiant for courage, and also for strength and activity. But behold, this was not all. They were men who were true at all times in whatsoever thing they were interested. Yea, they were men of truth and soberness, for they had been taught to keep the commandments of God, and to walk uprightly before him. And now it came to pass that Helaman did march at the head of his 2,000 stripling soldiers, to the support of his people, in the borders of the land on the south by the west sea. And thus ended the 28th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi. Chapter 54. Ammoron and Moroni negotiate for the exchange of prisoners. Moroni demands that the Lamanites withdraw and cease their murderous attacks. Ammoron demands that the Nephites lay down their arms and become subject to the Lamanites, about 63 BC. And that came to pass in the commencement of the 29th year of the judges, that Ammoron sent unto Moroni desiring that he would exchange prisoners. And it came to pass that Moroni felt to rejoice exceedingly at this request, for he desired the provisions which were imparted for the support of the Lamanite prisoners for the support of his own people, and he also desired his own people for the strengthening of his army. Now the Lamanites had taken many women and children, and there was not a woman nor a child among all the prisoners of Moroni, or all the prisoners whom Moroni had taken. Therefore Moroni resolved upon a stratagem to obtain as many prisoners from the Nephites from the Lamanites as it were possible. Therefore he wrote an epistle and sent it by the servant of Ammoron, the same who had brought an epistle unto Moroni. Now these are the words that he wrote unto Ammoron, saying, Behold, Ammoron, I have written unto you somewhat concerning this war, which ye have waged against my people, or rather, which thy brother hath waged against them, and which ye are still determined to carry on after his death. Behold, I would tell you somewhat concerning the justice of God, and the sword of his almighty wrath, which doth hang over you, except you repent and withdraw your armies into your own lands, or the land of your possessions, which is the land of Nephi. Yea, I would tell you of these things, if you are capable of hearing unto them. Yea, I would tell you concerning that awful hell that awaits to receive such murderers as thou and thy brother have been, except you repent and withdraw your murderous purposes, and return with your armies to your own lands. But as ye have once rejected these things, and have fought against the people of the Lord, even so I may expect you will do it again. And now, behold, we are prepared to receive you, yea, and except you withdraw your purposes, behold, you will pull down the wrath of that God, whom ye have rejected upon you, even to your utter destruction. But as the Lord liveth, our armies shall come upon you, except you withdraw, and ye shall soon be visited with death. For we will retain our cities and our lands, yea, we will maintain our religion and the cause of our God. But behold, it supposeth me that I talk to you concerning these things in vain, or it supposeth me that thou art a child of hell. Therefore I will close my epistle by telling you that I will not exchange prisoners, save it be on conditions that you will deliver up a man and his wife and his children for one prisoner. If this be the case, that you will do it, I will exchange. And behold, if you do not this, I will come against you with my armies, yea, even will I arm my women and my children, and I will come against you, and I will follow you even into your own land, which is the land of our first inheritance, yea. And it shall be blood for blood, yea, life for life, and I will give you battle even until you are destroyed from off the face of the earth. Behold, I am in my anger, and also my people. Ye have sought to murder us, and we have only sought to defend ourselves. But behold, if ye seek to destroy us more, we will seek to destroy you, yea, and we will seek our land, the land of our first inheritance. Now I close my epistle. I am Moroni. I am a leader of the people of the Nephites. And it came to pass that Amram, when he had received this epistle, was angry, and he wrote another epistle unto Moroni, saying, and these are the words which he wrote, saying, I am Amram, the king of the Lamanites. I am the brother of Amalickiah, whom ye have murdered. Behold, I will avenge his blood upon you, yea, I will come upon you with my armies, for I fear not your threatenings. For behold, your fathers did wrong their brethren, insomuch that they did rob them of their right to the government when it was rightly belonged unto them. And now, behold, if you will lay down your arms, and subject yourselves to be governed by those to whom the government doth rightly belong, then will I cause that my people shall lay down their weapons, and shall be at war no more. Behold, ye have breathed out many threatenings against me and my people, but behold, we fear not your threatenings. Nevertheless, I will grant to exchange prisoners gladly, according to your request. Gladly, that I may preserve my food for my men of war, and we will wage a war which shall be eternal, either to the subjecting of the Nephites to our authority, or to their eternal extinction. And as concerning that God whom you say we have rejected, behold, we know not a being, neither do ye. But if it so be that there is such a being, we know not but that he hath made us as well as you. And if there so be that there is a devil and a hell, behold, will he not send you there to dwell with my brother whom ye have murdered, whom ye hinted that he hath gone to such a place? But behold, these things matter not. I am Amram, and a descendant of Zorm, whom your fathers pressed and brought out of Jerusalem. And behold, now I am a bold Lamanite. Behold, this war hath been waged to avenge their wrongs, and to maintain and to obtain their rights to the government. And I close my epistle to Moroni. Chapter 55. Moroni refuses to exchange prisoners. The Lamanite guards are enticed to become drunk. The Nephite prisoners are freed. The city of Gid is taken without bloodshed, about 63 to 62 BC. And now it came to pass that when Moroni had received this epistle, he was more angry, because he knew that Amram had a perfect knowledge of his fraud. Yet he knew that Amram knew that it was not a just cause, that it caused him to wage war against the people of Nephi. And he said, Behold, I will not exchange prisoners with Amram, save he will withdraw his purpose, as I have stated in my epistle. For I will not grant to him that he shall have any more power than what he got. Behold, I know that the place where the Lamanites do guard my people, whom they have taken prisoners. And as Amram would not grant to mine epistle, behold, I will give unto him according to my words, yea, I will seek death among them, until they shall sue for peace. And now it came to pass that when Moroni had said these words, he caused that a search should be made among his men, that perhaps he might find a man who was a descendant of Laman among them. And it came to pass that they found one, whose name was Laman, and he was one of the servants of the king who was murdered by Amalickiah. Now Moroni caused that Laman and a small number of his men should go forth unto the guards who were over the Nephites. Now the Nephites were guarded in the city of Gid. Therefore Moroni appointed Laman, and caused that a small number of men should go with him. And when it was evening, Laman went to the guards who were over the Nephites, and behold, they saw him coming, and they hailed him. But he said unto them, Fear not, behold, I am a Lamanite. Behold, we have escaped from the Nephites, and they sleep, and behold, we have taken of their wine, and brought it with us. Now when the Lamanites heard these words, they received him with joy, and said unto him, Give us of your wine, that we may drink. We are glad that ye have thus taken wine with you, for we are weary. But Laman said unto them, Let us keep of our wine till we go against the Nephites to battle. But this saying only made them more desirous to drink of the wine. For they said, We are weary, therefore let us take of the wine. And by we shall receive wine for our rations, which will strengthen us to go against the Nephites. And Laman said unto them, You may do according to your desires. And it came to pass that they did take of the wine freely, and it was pleasant to their taste. Therefore they took of it more freely, and it was strong, having been prepared in its strength. And it came to pass that they did drink and were merry, and by they were all drunken. And now when the Laman and his men saw that they were all drunken, and were in a deep sleep, they returned to Moroni, and told him all the things that had happened. And now this was according to the design of Moroni. And Moroni had prepared with his men with weapons of war, and he went to the city of Gid, while the Lamanites were in a deep sleep and drunken, and cast in weapons of war unto the prisoners, insomuch that they were all armed, yea, even to their women, and all those of their children, as many as were able to use a weapon of war. And when Moroni had armed all those prisoners, and all those things were done in a profound silence. But they had awakened the Lamanites, behold, they were drunken, and the Nephites could have slain them. But behold, this was not the desire of Moroni. He did not delight in murder or bloodshed, but he delighted in the saving of his people from destruction. And for this cause he might not bring upon him injustice. He would not fall upon the Lamanites and destroy them in their drunkenness. But he had obtained his desires, for he had armed the prisoners of the Nephites who were within the walls of the city, and he had given them power to gain possession of those parts which were within the walls.